Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Oh, no! Oh, yeah!
Brian Norman versus Jerron Boots Ennis is the fight to make, but it's not being made. And Eddie Hearn is involved. And you guys think that Brian Norman is the issue.
Straighter! Yep. Not a roundhouse right hand.
And that's what we've been talking about. The straight shot is the one where he gets leverage on it.
I don't want to kill somebody
back
for
a little bit.
seconds.
Nah, I want a body on my record.
Now, I want to see you fight motherfuckers. I do. All right? I'm with you. I'm with you. As long as you're trying to fight the great, the best competition.
Eddie Hearn is a blatant and known liar. Jerron Boots Ennis is a phenomenal, amazing fighter. Brian Norman and Brian Norman Sr. are great people and phenomenal fighters as well. Well, a phenomenal fighter and a phenomenal father. Someone's lying. Someone's telling the truth. I understand you guys want to put all your eggs in one basket. I don't. Not. This is the best fight in the best. I want this fight. Someone's not on their game. Someone is pushing away from this. And I tend to fall with that guy right there because that guy has already did it. He has a history of doing it. This guy doesn't, and neither does that guy. But that guy does. But hey, a broken clock is right twice a day. So let's listen to what he has to say. And let's just see.
Thing I do want to ask you, since we're stateside, I guess it makes sense. Boots Ennis. Yeah. Last time we spoke, you talked about reaching out to Norman's team and looking to make that fight. What is the latest update?
Do you know what? Like, it's frustrating because you hear everything that Brian Norman Sr. or his daddy's saying, and none of it really makes sense. Like, if this is a really simple situation. The first offer that was made to Brian Norman was nicely over $1 million. They said that they felt that, not insulting, but was nowhere near. We've made 2 more offers, $250,000 every time now, to levels that Brian Norman will never see. And it's like, we keep getting told we're close, then we go back and make another offer, and then we're told by his team that we're actually not that close. And I start to think, Brian Norman, do you want this fight, or are you clout chasing, or as the others might say over here, cap, or whatever it is.
Not sure how that works, but
not sure it is either. But it's like, do you want to be great, Brian Norman? Like, not being funny. Who is Brian Norman? I know Brian Norman's a good fighter, but no one knows who Brian Norman is. We're giving you a bucket load of money and an opportunity for you to unify the division against, in my opinion, one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Now, you say Boots is overrated. You say he's not the bogeyman. Then why wouldn't you take this bucket load of money to prove that you're the best welterweight in the world? So let's just stop with the interviews online. We've gone back 3 times now with more money. To a point, like, with all due respect to Brian Norman, he shouldn't be making this kind of money. But we're ready and we're prepared to pay him it. And then we get told, oh, you're miles off. It's like, we just saw an interview with this guy saying we're right close. We've just gone back with another $250,000, and now you're telling us we're miles away. So I don't believe the bullshit of Brian Norman and the team. If you want the fight, you would have taken the fight. And now, we're in a situation where the IBF, which is absolutely ridiculous, has ordered Chudazian to fight. The rematch. Listen, the kid's a good fighter. Boots has already beaten him. The IBF have got to stop with this. They're ruining boxing by ordering fights that people really don't want to see, especially when he's already beaten him. So we may vacate the belt, and we may do something different, because Boots has got to prove to the world how great he is. We may fight Chudazian, and we might just get it out of the way. But Brian Norman has missed the boat, and now he's got to go and fight someone for peanuts that no one's ever heard of. Boots is all right. Boots is on a fortune. But Brian Norman had the chance to prove himself as a superstar, and they dropped the ball. And I hate all this stuff. The dad's going on, giving these interviews, and like, you're not even in a conversation. We've never had a conversation with a dad. Very frustrating. Brian Norman.
So there you have it, y'all. There you have what Eddie Hearn said. Those are Eddie Hearn's words. Eddie Hearn is telling you guys that they started out giving Brian Norman an offer of over $1 million. That was the first offer. The next offer, they gave 2 more for a total of 3 offers. Right? Started out at $1 million and gave 2 more to get up to $1.5 million. That's what they said. That's what he said. Say, they told him it was close, and now they're saying they're not close. Who is Brian Norman? Giving Brian Norman a chance to unify. So Brian Norman is getting a chance. So Boots is not getting a chance. Brian Norman is getting a chance to unify. Take the money to prove you're the best. Why is it always, don't worry about it. I'll address that here in a little bit. I'll address that in a little bit. And then the last thing he said, well, not the last, the second from the last thing he said is they've gone back 3 times. So if you started out with $1 million and then you've gone back 3 times, then that's 4 total offers, right? So you started out with $1 million, and then every other time you went back, you went up 250,000 because you said you did it twice. Now you said you're going back 3 times. So if you're going back 3 times, then you've added $750,000 if you've gone back 3 times. If you've gone back twice, you've added $500,000. But, that's what he says. So let's take a peek at what Senior has to say.
Before it even gets started for Eddie Hearn, so you can go and stop the cap. Eddie Hearn, you trying to spend this? Check this out. The first offer was was less than a third of what Boots made for David Abenesian. David Abenesian is only famous for getting beat by or getting knocked out by Bud. We was picking at David Abenesian. We was picking at his name and everything about David Abenesian before he fought Bud. Now all of a sudden David Abenesian is a name. It's the same thing I said about everybody got to be attached to a person, then they become a name. All right. So now your first offer was that, and it was literally just a little bit more than what you gave David Abenesian, and my son is a world champion. He brings to the table the exact same thing that Boots brings to the table. Boots doesn't bring anything more to the table than my son brings. It's a unification bout. He has his belt. My son has his belt. My son is taking all the chances. He's taking all the risks. You got it? So that's what you do. The second offer was less than half of what Boots made his last fight. The third offer was half of what Boots made his last fight. To be exact, damn near. It was literally half of what Boots made his last fight. So imagine what Boots is going to make in this unification bout. Considerably more than he just made in his last fight. So, not speaking actual numbers, I'm speaking actual facts. You tell me I'm lying. That's what it was. You did not want to make this fight. The only reason you did this was to tell Boots and his team that you tried to make the fight. You did not make the fight. I gave Boza the numbers. I told Boza what the numbers was. Both know that's some bullshit.
Now, just like he said right here, gotta be attached to someone and then they become a name. When you attach your name to somebody else's name. If you guys believe that these fighters, these people don't watch me, you're on either dope or dog food. I literally just said this a couple of days ago. I've told you guys this. Floyd Mayweather got his name from being tied to Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar was looked at to being tied to Sweet Pea and looked at as the next Sugar Ray Leonard. We can just keep going back and back and back. Gervonta Tank Davis tied to Floyd Mayweather. Devin Haney, Volomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, all tied to each other. All tied to Tank Davis. They're all tied to each other. Without the other, their name is diminished. It's diminished without the other. All right? Look at Subriel Matisse. Without Devin, who is he? Without this man talking about Devin, who is he? Where is he? Yeah, Jerron Boots Ennis was nothing. This man got 30-something fights. He had like 20-something fights, and we had no idea who he was. We knew who Boots was when his name got tied to Errol Spence. And I'm not saying that he was unknown. I'm saying we collectively, the boxing world, nobody was checking for Boots. Nobody was like, hey man, this guy got 4 fights. This dude about to be a problem. No. When his name was tied to Errol Spence is when Jerron Boots and his name started to start popping. Now we all Errol's ducking. Why won't Errol fight is mandatory? Now once people want to look into see what Boots is about. He's a special talented fighter. He's gifted beyond belief. But he was gifted beyond belief when he had 10 fights. And nobody was checking for him. He was gifted beyond belief when he had 15 fights. And nobody was checking for him. He was gifted beyond belief when he had 20 fights. And nobody was checking for him. He had all the same skills. No, his name was tied to Errol Spence. And then it starts to build up. It starts to, now all of a sudden, Boots is Demando, Boots. And I rock with Boots, don't get it twisted. But it's just the facts. It's just the truth. Then his name gets tied to Terrence Crawford, and now all of a sudden it's a whole different story. So what this man's saying is absolutely correct. He said that to start out, the initial fight was a little bit more than what David Avanesian got. That was what the initial offer was. And we'll go through these numbers because this is not hard to verify. You know, if you're decent in math, this is not difficult to understand. It's not difficult to see who's capping, who's lying, who's a fraud, who really don't want it, and who's actually trying to make the fight happen. This is not hard because the numbers don't lie. All you need is some variables, and you can do some basic math, and you can get to the nitty gritty. Okay. Senior said they're both champions. They both bring the exact same thing to the table. That's a fact. All right, that's a fact. They're both champions. Both of them. One of them is the WBO, one of them is the IBF. They bring the exact same thing to the table. One belt. That's what they bring. That's exactly what they bring. They both fight at 147. They're both their first unification. Yeah, they bring the exact same thing. Neither one of these guys is pay-per-view attractions. Neither one. Neither one of them have even fought on a pay-per-view card, even an undercard of a pay-per-view. They bring the exact same thing. He says that Brian is taking all the risk. Well, he is. I don't see Boots saying he's going to go to Atlanta to fight Brian Norman. No, Brian Norman's supposed to be going to Philly, to this man's hometown, to fight him. That's what Brian Norman's supposed to be doing. Okay? And the next thing he said is, the second offer was less than half of what Jerron Boots Ennis got. It was less than half. The first was less than a third of what Boots got. The second was less than half of what Boots got. And then the third one was exactly half of what Boots got. Now, we're going to look at these numbers now. So we can verify. We're going to look at these numbers. So then he said something that was very important. 2 things that were very important to me. One is that Eddie Hearn is capping. He's lying. He's doing all this. He don't really want the fight. He's doing all this because he just wants to go back to Boots to tell Boots that he tried. Right? And if history serves us correctly, that's exactly what he did with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. That's exactly what he did. The same damn thing. He tried. And then went a different direction. And blamed Deontay Wilder for all this. He did the same thing, bro. He could at least be original. This is exactly what he did. He tried. Offering a flat fee until Anthony Joshua opened his damn mouth and mentioned 50 million, and then Deontay Wilder was like, okay, bet, we got you. Well, see, that leads me to the next thing. When Senior told Bozy the numbers they wanted to make the fight. Yeah, that's the exact same thing that Anthony Joshua did. When Anthony Joshua told Deontay Wilder he wants $50 million. And then they got him $50 million. And then it changed from, all these stories changed from, oh, you can't offer, and you can't, and you don't deserve, and if it's real, if you're really this, then give Joshua $50 million, if you're really blah, 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 if Al Heyman, until he got the money. And then when he got the money, then all of a sudden, I don't, where's it at? Why you ain't give it to me yet? Well, you didn't sign the contract. If you would have signed the contract, you would have got it. You didn't sign the contract. You wanted the money without signing the contract. Well, put it here, and let's see it here, and let's see the money in escrow, and let's see, like, what are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? That's what Eddie Hearn did. Yeah, when Anthony Joshua gave Wilder the numbers, Wilder went and got them to make the fight, and then Eddie Hearn changed the whole story and changed the whole narrative. Senior gave Bozy the numbers. Bozy knows Bozy and the great Bozy. I rock with Bozy heavy. The whole Ennis family. I rock with them. The whole family. They're all flop. They're all dope. All of them. But he gave him the numbers. So if Senior gave Bozy the numbers, then why didn't Bozy tell Eddie Hearn, hey man, this is what they want to make this fight? And me speaking to Bozy, realizing what type of person Bozy is, I guarantee you Bozy told Eddie Hearn what the numbers, what they asking for. I guarantee you he did. Guaranteed. Because I believe Bozy and Boots want this fight. I believe they want to unify. It is not Bozy. It is not Senior. It is not Boots. No, it's not none of them. It's this nigga right there. It's that nigga. It is Eddie. It is Edward Hearn is who it is. It is Edward Hearn. Edward Hearn. Who is now talking about they may vacate the IBF title. Where did you get this from? What do you mean they may vacate? Don't worry, we'll go into this. We'll go into it more. But the bottom line is, Senior gave Bozy the number. You don't need to pussyfoot around. We don't need to keep coming back and giving you a second or a third or a fourth. You don't know. Just give the man what he's asking for. What's the price? It's not your money. It's not like the man is asking for $50-60 million, bro. It's not your money. It's not your money. It's not your money. This is not your bread, bro. Eddie Hearn is not taking $1 out of his pocket. Not $1. This is the zone bread. It is not your money, bro. At all. It's not your money. Motherfucking Brian Norman is not running around here saying he wants undisputed. Brian Norman's not running around here talking about I want all these other guys. No, he's not doing that. That's what Boots is doing. Boots is doing this. So if Boots is doing this, if Boots wants this, then Boots is going to have to concede to something. He's going to have to concede to something, bro. Boots is the one tracking this down. But let's listen to what Jaron Boots Ennis has to say.
How many offers have you sent so far?
3.
So you've gone up
each and every time.
Each and every time.
Yep. Okay. So I don't know if they looking for a retirement check or what. Like I said, I'm here to collect belts. I'm here to be undisputed, and collect all these belts and make these biggest fights possible happen,
What's the most important thing to you right now? Is it money or is it legacy?
Legacy. I'm here to be undisputed. I'm taking over this weight division. I'm here to collect belts.
So, Jaron Boots Ennis says that they've sent 3 offers. And for him, it's legacy over money. Okay. Well, Eddie Hearn said they sent 4 offers. They sent, the first one was $1 million. And then the next two times, it went up $250,000. So that would be $1.5 million. But later on in this very same interview, he said he's gone back 3 times, which means you've made 1 offer and then you've gone back 3 times. That's a total of 4. I know you guys are going to say, oh, BF, it's tongue-in-cheek. It's tongue-in-cheek. It's not with Eddie Hearn. It's not. Eddie Hearn is a very, very slick talker, and he will tell you some things and say some things to you to get your mind thinking what he wants your mind to think. And once he gets your mind thinking what he wants your mind to think, he will pile it on. And you'll already be looking at one thing that you believed he was right on, and he'll take that one thing that you believed he was right on, that one thing, and he might even be right, and then he'll surround it with a whole bunch of bullshit, a whole bunch of lies. Okay, let's look at what Eddie Hearn said. 3 offers were made. So this one where he said he went back 3 times. I went back 3 times. Yeah, you could get that one the fuck out of here. Because he didn't make 4 offers. He didn't make 4 offers. His first offer was $1 million. We'll go through this here in a second. The next offer went up 2 more times, $250,000 to $1.5 million. We'll go over this in a second, y'all. Because like I said, some simple math can resolve all of this. Told them they're close, and then told them they're not. You can get this the fuck out of here, bro. Told them they're close, and then told them they're not. It's kind of hard to tell them they're close and then tell them they're not when you gave Bozy, Ennis the numbers, right? It's kind of hard. So told them that whatever the fuck he said, yeah, you can get that the fuck out of here, bro. You can get this. You can get this up out of here. This is trash. That's Eddie Hearn capping like a motherfucker. When he says, "Who is Brian Norman?" Who is Brian Norman? Who the fuck was Anthony Joshua? Who was Anthony Joshua? He wasn't a damn thing to nobody. He was Deontay Wilder's mandatory. And he ducked that. He could have been, let me correct myself. He could have been Deontay Wilder's mandatory. He could have been. But let's just leave that. Who was Brian? So you guys are giving Brian Norman an opportunity to unify. No. Brian Norman and Boots are giving each other an opportunity to unify. That is not one-sided. They are both giving each other an opportunity to unify. So you can get that the fuck up out of here, bro. You can get that the fuck up out of here. You can play them little semantic weird-ass games with somebody else as if Boots is already solidified. He's literally fought nobody. So you can get that the fuck out of here. All right? Just like Brian Norman. Brian Norman hasn't fought nobody, and neither really has Boots. That's what y'all be claiming when it comes to him fighting Terrence Crawford. Oh, he ain't fight nobody. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Take the money to prove you're the best. For a man who is telling you, for him, it is legacy over money. That is what Jaron Boots Ennis is saying. It is legacy over money. Legacy over money. So why isn't this man just telling them, hey, let's do a 50-50 split? Whatever the bag is, take the whole bag and let's do a 50-50 split. We're both champions. Let's go ahead and split this bag down the middle. They're not saying that, though. I wonder why. But I'm just saying that. This man said legacy over money. So Boots is telling you what it is. So why is Eddie Hearn telling this dude to take the money to prove he's the best? Doesn't Boots have the exact same thing? To take whatever number that they offered? I mean, that they're saying that they want? Bro, if you're making $3-something million and it's legacy over money, and this man is making 1.5, well, why don't you take bread out of your 3 point whatever and give it to them to even the score, or however you want to do it, and make the motherfucking fight then? So why are you can remove this take money to prove you're the best, because that falls with both of them. So you can get that up out of here too. You can get that up out of here. Okay? Well, let's look at what Senior said. Let's look at what Senior said and see what we can remove from this. He said his first offer that he got was less than 1/3. Don't worry. We're going to dive into that when we get to the numbers. He said, you got to be attached to someone, then they become a name. That is true. He said when it started out, the very first offer, he got a little bit more than Avi, than this bum-ass nigga Ambrosia. We'll check that to verify. They're both champs. That's true. Brian Norman's taking the risk. That's true. But they're actually both taking risks. Brian Norman is just moving a different location. So when you say Brian Norman is taking all the risks, I disagree. Yeah, you can get that up out of here. Brian Norman is not taking all the risks. Brian Norman is just fighting him in Philly. Is that a risk? It is a risk, but he's not taking all the risk. He's not taking all of them, because Brian Norman is still one of the most hardest punchers at 147. Boots is taking some damn risks in that too, so he's not taking all the risks. You can get that up out of here, senior. He's not taking all the risks. He is going to Philadelphia, but a ring is a ring is a ring is a ring. I wouldn't give a damn if it was on Mars. Philadelphia and Atlanta are not too far away. That's a drive. You ain't got to get in a plane and fly an hour and a half from Atlanta to Philly. Yeah, you can get on the road. You can get on I-95. It's a straight shot. You can get right on 95 and go straight on up. Yeah, you can get on 20, shoot over to 95 and go straight up north. Straight shot. It's not all the risk. It's not all the risk. So you can get that out of here. So then he says he's got less than half. We'll check that. We'll verify. Simple math. Then he says the last one was absolutely half. We can check that too. We'll see the numbers. And then he says the second from the last thing was that Eddie Hearn can tell Boots he tried. That's Eddie Hearn way. That's the Eddie Hearn way. To tell Boots he tried, bro. That is the Eddie Hearn way. Tell him he tried. And lastly, and most importantly, is that they gave the numbers to Bozy what they said is acceptable to them to make the fight. Okay, let's align these now. Okay, so after realigning, this is what we have, right? On Boots' side, with lion-ass Eddie Hearn, we have Boots says it's legacy over money for him. Eddie Hearn says they may vacate the IBF because they can't get Brian Norman fight, because they won't pay that man what he's asking for. And Senior told them the number that they want. He gave Bozy the numbers that they want to make the fight. So they got the numbers, right? Eddie Hearn says they offered him $1 million. Senior says they offered him a third, less than a third of what Boots got, less than a third. All right. Eddie says they gone up $500,000 more. Bozy said, Senior said the next one was less than half. The third one was half. And Eddie is just doing this so he can tell Boots he tried and then move on. And Eddie is proving that he wants to move on by saying that they may vacate the IBF title. They may vacate. That is not what Boots is saying. Boots is saying it's legacy over money and he wants to fight. So it seems like two people want to fight is Senior and Boots. And one person does not. That's Eddie, who is claiming that they may vacate. They don't even want to fight the mandatory. They may vacate because they already beat the mandatory. So what if you already beat a dude named Karen? So if you already beat a dude named Karen and that was like arguably your worst fight, well, then you have an opportunity to beat him again and do better than you did the first time. This is not a knock on anybody. It's not a knock on Boots. This is a knock on Eddie Hearn. Because he's the one saying that they may vacate the IBF title instead of fighting their mandatory. Well, how are you vacating if Boots is saying he wants to become undisputed at 147? The math ain't mathing. Speaking of which, let's get to the math. The one thing that we can be sure of is that 3 offers were sent. The first one and 2 second ones. That is what Boots says. That is what Senior says. Eddie Hearn says 4 were sent. Eddie Hearn's a blatant liar. He's been a blatant liar. So, what we can assume based on what we know is that Eddie Hearn is saying 1 mil was sent to them, and then it was upped 2 times to 1.5 million in 3 total offers. That's what he's saying. What Senior is saying is that they got a little bit more than what David Avanesian got in the first offer. Not 1 million. Right? And it was less than a third of what Jerron Boots Ennis got. And then he says the second one was less than half of what Boots got, and the third one was half of what Boots got. Hey, Jerron Boots Ennis got $3.3 million to fight David Ambrosia. That's what he got. So if Senior is saying they got a little bit more than what David Avanesian got, a little bit more, and Eddie is saying they got 1 million, actually Eddie said they got more than 1 million. That's what Eddie said. Eddie said they got more than $1 million to fight for the first one, and then they upped it 2 times, and now they upped it 2 times, $250,000 each to 1.5. Those numbers don't jive. Now, let's make sure we listen to Eddie Hearn again. Let's make sure we listen and we understand exactly what the man said.
One thing I do want to ask you, since we're stateside, I guess it makes sense. Boots Ennis. Yeah. Last time we spoke, you talked about reaching out to Norman's team and looking to make that fight. What is the latest update?
Do you know what? Like, it's frustrating because you hear everything that Brian Norman Senior or his daddy's saying, and none of it really makes sense. Like, if this is a really simple situation. The first offer that was made to Brian Norman was nicely over $1 million.
Nicely over $1 million. Nicely over. No one is asking this man what nicely means. No one. But if you add $250,000 twice, you get $500,000. That's what you get. So if his first offer was nicely over $1 million, well then his final offer should be nicely over $1.5 million. It should not be $1.5 million. That math is not mathing. The math is not mathing at all. It's the same thing as pay-per-views. Right? Pay-per-views, they'll say, oh, it did 150,000 pay-per-view buys, as if every number is even. Yeah, so what happens is, because you want to make your pay-per-view buys look good, just like Eddie wanting to make his offer look good, he rounds up. So he'll say 1.5 million was what we offered when we rounded up. You added $500,000 to something that was not $1 million, and then you rounded up to 1.5. That's what they do. That's the reason why pay-per-view numbers are not 149,386. That's why they're not that, because they round up to 150,000. That's how you do that. It's the same thing in money. You want to round up to the public's eye so that you can make the public seem like you gave so much money. So you round up. You don't round down. You don't say I offered him 1.5 million when you offered more than 1.5 million. No, you'll say I offered more than 1.5 million. But they're out here saying they offered 1.5 million, which means they're rounding up. They're not rounding down, they're rounding up. Okay. So that's Eddie Hearn saying what he did. We started out with we started out with nicely over $1 million. Nicely over $1 million. And then from starting out with nicely over $1 million, you then add $500,000. Why would you add $500,000, bro? Why would anybody add? This part is what baffles me, is why you would add anything if you have this right here. If this is what you have, why would you add anything?
The numbers. I told both what the numbers was. Both know that.
If this man told him what the numbers was.
This fight, the only reason you did this was to tell Boots and his team that you tried to make the fight. You did not make the fight. I gave Boza the numbers. I told Boza what the numbers was. Both know that's some bullshit.
If you have the numbers to make the fight, if you have the number, why are you just not doing it? It's not your money. It's not your bread, bro. This is not Eddie Hearn's money. He is not taking $1 out of his pocket. This is not his money. It's not his money. He did not pay Jerron Boots Ennis $3 million to fight David Avanesian out of his own pocket. It's not his bread, bro. This is all these things are like tax write-offs. This is not his bread, bro. Okay. So that's what he said he did. All right. Senior said they were offered a little bit more than what Avanesian made. Now let's think about which one sounds more realistic. Which one sounds more real? Let's just think about it. Let's look at it.
Before it even gets started with Eddie Hearn, so I can go in, so you can go and stop the cap. Eddie Hearn, you trying to spend this? Check this out. The first offer was was less than a third of what Boots made for David Avanesian.
Less than a third. A third of what Boots made is 1.1 million. It was less than 1.1 million.
David Avanesian is only famous for getting beat by or getting knocked out by Bud. We was picking at David Avanesian. We was picking at his name and everything about David Avanesian before he fought Bud. Now all of a sudden David Avanesian is a name. It's the same thing I said about everybody got to be attached to a person, then they become a name. All right. So now your first offer was that, and it was literally just a little bit more than what you gave David Avanesian. And my son is a world champion.
So your first offer was a little bit more than $585,000. 1.1 is double that. It's double that. 1.1 is double 585, damn near. It's damn near double. Because it's damn near double, but 1.2 is 600,000. You offered a little bit more than what David Avanesian made. Let's keep going.
He brings to the table the exact same thing that Boots brings to the table. Boots doesn't bring anything more to the table than my son brings. It's a unification bout. He has his belt. My son has his belt. My son is taking all the chances. He's taking all the risks. You got it? So that's what you do. The second offer was less than half of what Boots made.
Less than half. Half of what Boots made is let's just say 1.6. 1.6, because half of 3 million is 1.5, right? And then half of 300,000 is 150,000. So let's just say 1.6. 1.6. So your second offer was less than half of what Boots made. So it was less than 1,500,000. It was less than that.
Last fight. The third offer was half of what Boots made his last fight.
So his third offer was the 1.5. That was the third offer, 1.5. And it wasn't 1.5 because you would have. We're not rounding up. This is what it is. And he's not even saying that it was that, because half will be 1.6.
To be exact, damn near.
To be exact, damn near. Which is the 1.5 that everybody is running around here saying that that's what he was offered, 1.5. The 1.5 million. So he's saying it was half damn near. To be exact, damn near, which is 1.5 and 1.6 is $100,000 off. Yeah, he was not offered 1.6. 1.5 is what was sent to everybody. That's what the whole world is talking about. The 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Again, it gave the numbers of what would make the fight. It gave the numbers. He's clearly not asking for what Jerome Boots Ennis made. Clearly. But what it sounds like is he's asking for a more fair split. That's what it sounds like he's asking for. A more fair split. They're both champions. They both bring one belt to the table. This is not like one guy is unified with 3 belts and one guy has 1 belt. You know, like Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Where Errol Spence wanted to fight Terrence Crawford so bad that the 3-belt unified champion gave Terrence Crawford a 50-50 split. When Errol Spence was the name, Errol Spence was the draw. Errol Spence, nothing about this fight was a draw for Terrence Crawford at all, nothing. Him beating Ndongo and Jeff Hearn didn't mean a damn thing. Errol Spence was the draw. The pay-per-view numbers said Errol Spence. The views said Errol Spence. Everything said Errol Spence. Yet Errol Spence gave this man upwards of 25 million. They both split 50-50 bag. You know, like when Terrence Crawford was only making $6 million. That's all he was making was $6 million to fight Sean Porter. And y'all say he made $10 million versus on BLK Prime. Absolute cap. Y'all have zero proof of this, and Terrence Crawford has never said it himself. Never. Never said that at all. Never. You have zero proof. Zero. So a company in BLK Prime that is basically out of business right now gave their entire bag to Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I believe what y'all want to believe. But these numbers right here are solidified. Yeah, these numbers right here, it says Terrence Crawford made $6 million, upwards of $6 million in a 60-40 split. 60-40 split with Sean Porter. 60-40. For Sean Porter, who had 0 belt, made $4 million, and Terrence Crawford made $6 million with 1 belt. If you guys are trying to tell me that a man who's made over $3 million to fight David Ambrosia, and this is just a title defense, is supposed to make the same thing over another champion, and the champion is supposed to get less than half of that. The math ain't mathing. So for you guys to start telling me, oh man, come on man, I don't mean nothing. I don't mean nothing, BF. Come on, man. There's different strokes, different folks. Oh, come on, man. Here we go. Then what about the 25% that Shakur Stevenson turned down to fight Devin Haney? What about that? See, you guys are putting yourselves in a bind here. Because y'all are running around here talking about how Brian Norman is ducking. Brian Norman ain't ducking anything. Boots ain't ducking anything. It is Eddie Hearn. It's Eddie Hearn. Yeah, but y'all was all out here talking about, oh, come on, man. Man knows his worth. Shakur Stevenson knows his worth. He could get more than that. Shakur can get more than that. Shakur really wants to fight. He's going to the WBC. He's going to the WBC. But Shakur went to the WBO. Well, Brian Norman's WBO champion. So why don't old Eddie Hearn go to the WBO and tell the WBO, hey, give us a price for this fight? No, it's different strokes, different folks now, right? Just going to make an offer, just run out. Just going to make an offer, just roll. So this Shakur shit is cool with y'all now, and now all of a sudden this, because this is Brian Norman. The only difference is Brian Norman is a champion. Yeah, Brian Norman is a champion. That's the only difference. He's a champion. He's a champion. So Brian Norman is a champion. And you guys was out here capping, and y'all was running around here doing all this weird ass shit. Oh God, Shakur needs to get more money. This is crazy. Shakur needs to get more money. Look at his hair. He's got dimples, BF. Shakur should get paid more. Look at his dimples. Look at his smile. He's got $1 million smile. That's worth some money, BF. Worth something. Devin needs to give him more. If Devin don't give him more, Devin's scared. So are you guys saying if Jerron Boots Ennis and Eddie Hearn does not give Brian Norman more money, then they are scared of Brian Norman? Is that what y'all saying to me? Y'all said it about Shakur Stevenson and Devin. You said it about Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Yeah, if Errol Spence should just give 50-50. Why don't Errol give 50-50? But Errol had 3 belts. Terrence Crawford had 1. Oh man, accolades. Their accolades don't mean shit in the weight class they are fighting in. The only thing that means anything is your desire to fight and the amount of money you draw individually. That's it. Your desire to fight and the amount of money you draw. The only difference between Brian Norman and Jerron Boots Ennis is the amount of money they draw. That's it. That is the only reason why Jerron Boots Ennis would be the A-side. That is the only reason why Jerron Boots Ennis would make more money. That's it. No other reason. So I'm not saying it should be 50-50 because I didn't think Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford should have been 50-50. But Errol Spence wanted it, which is why he gave him that. Jerron Boots Ennis, if you want it, there's nothing wrong with giving 50-50. Just throwing it out there. If you really want it, if it's legacy over money and you really want to fight with Brian Norman, there is nothing wrong with a 50-50 split. Nothing. Nothing at all. Errol Spence did it for Undisputed when he had 3 belts and was the pay-per-view draw and the pay-per-view attraction. Why can't you? Why can't Eddie? Specifically, if Bozy gave y'all the number he wants. If he gave you the number he wants, then Jerron Boots Ennis can take out of his bag, because it's legacy over money, he can take out of his bag and make sure he gets the legacy. Eddie Hearn said that Boots is making a fortune. Cool, got it. Cool. He's not. Because $3 million is a lot of money to me. But $3 million is not a lot of money to Jerron Boots Ennis, and it shouldn't be, as special as he is. Jerron Boots Ennis should be making double that, triple. Because they got the bag. Eddie Hearn is getting the bag. He's got to, don't worry, we'll speak to it in a little bit. We'll speak to it in a little bit. Yeah, we'll speak to it in a little bit. But this goes right back to what they're asking for. What they're asking for. They're looking at what Boots made, and they're like, bro, I'm a champion too. You want what I got. I'm a champion. Am I going to go fight somebody and I might not make as much? I might not make as much. No, I might not. I might make less if I fight somebody else. But that didn't stop you guys from selling that to Shakur Stevenson. No, you guys were spot on when it came to Shakur Stevenson. No, when Shakur Stevenson was turning down his biggest bag against Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson was going to make more than motherfucking Jerron Boots Ennis and Brian Norman combined. He was going to make more. This man at a minimum was going to make over $5 million at a minimum to fight Devin Haney. Over $5 million at a minimum. I heard it with my own ears. and not from Team DHP, from Top Rank. Yeah. Y'all wouldn't know about this, but there's another nigga that does. Salute to my nigga 503 line. That man was going to make at a minimum over $5 million. He was going to make more than Jerron Boots Ennis's $3 million and Brian Norman's 1.5 combined. Combined. He was going to make more. Shakur was, and turned it down. But you guys still running around talking about, oh man, nah, he a name. On free TV, he does this. So what? Jerron Boots Ennis and Brian Norman both fight on free TV. So Jerron Boots Ennis is the name. His name is the bigger draw than Brian Norman's. So he should be getting a bigger split of the pie. But it shouldn't be that much bigger. It shouldn't be so outrageous that y'all running around here telling me this motherfucker is, oh man, he can't get this, he don't deserve this. Bro, he got $3 million to fight a bum. What do you think he's going to make to fight Brian Norman in the unification? More. He's going to make more. Why shouldn't Brian Norman make more? You guys ran around here all the time. When Shakur Stevens talked about, oh man, this is supposed to be the biggest fight of my career, and he offered me that, I'm supposed to get. So why don't y'all have the same energy for Brian Norman? Why? And once again, it's different strokes for different folks. You don't have the same energy for Brian Norman. You don't. You don't. And you should. This is not a knock on Jerron Boots Ennis. It's a knock on Eddie Hearn. I believe Boots wants this fight. It's a knock on Eddie Hearn. He is paying Eddie Hearn out of his pocket, out of his bag, to promote him, to run around here and do all this capping and lying that he's doing. Yeah. But what happened to this $1 billion? What happened to this $1 billion, y'all? This $1 billion, what happened to this? We are literally talking about $3 million and $1.5 million. Not even $5 million. Not even what Devin offers Shakur Stevenson. We're not even talking about that. And this man had $1 billion. What fights did he spend it on, y'all? Who got this $1 billion? Where did this money go to? And why can't he be dipping it into this bag to pay Brian Norman and Jerron Boots Ennis to make Boots or Brian a star? Well, if you guys believe Boots just destroys Brian, then isn't this building Boots' legacy and his star power? Isn't this building him to be a unified champion? Isn't this building his name? Isn't this making Boots the next one? Didn't Eddie Hearn say he's going to make Boots a superstar? The same guy that said he's going to make Boots a superstar is telling Boots to vacate the IBF title. The same guy. He's a scam artist. He's a scam. I do not believe this dude at all, bro. He's a scam artist. Straight scammer. 100% scammer. The man says a little bit of truth, and you guys can verify the truth that 3 offers were sent, and then you take everything else he says after that as the truth. He is lying. That'd be like me telling you, yeah, my name is BFTB, and I'm actually a full-blooded white man, you know, and really, I have a 6-foot penis. I have all the baddest women on God's green earth. They all rock with me, and I'm worth $8 trillion. Yeah, but I'm telling you my name is BFTB. Yeah, I'm telling you that. My name is BFTB. I'm giving you the truth. I'm giving you the facts. This is me. This is BFTB's page. I'm BFTB. And then I tell you I'm a white man. And then I tell you about I'm worth $8 billion. Yeah. Then I tell you I myself shot Saddam Hussein. Me personally. And then I doubled back down on one of my other deployments and went over there and I myself, me personally, shot motherfucking Osama bin Laden. It was me that did that. I unalived them both. Just because I was deployed multiple times, now I'm doing that. That's Eddie Hearn, y'all. That is Eddie Hearn. He tells you some truth to get you guys hooked, and then he lies to you. And then you believe his lies, and all he's got to do is squinch his face up and say, and this is, I can't believe this. I can't believe that. This is madness. He doesn't want to know. Dumbledore. On twatting him and them, I offered him 5 offers. On Quidditch and them, he turned it down. This guy's scary. He doesn't want to prove he's the best. I don't believe Eddie Hearn, y'all. The numbers themselves are with this man. What this man said is more accurate than what this man said. What this man said is more accurate. Specifically, if he gave them the number that will make the fight. Shakur never did this. Terrence Crawford never did this. Didn't stop you guys from glazing both of them. Gervonta Tank Davis never did this for Devin Haney. Never. Never told Devin what does he want to make the fight. Shakur Stevenson never told him what he wants to make the fight. Terrence Crawford never told Errol Spence what he wants to make the fight. But you motherfuckers, well, you know, if you go to somebody's little job and their little job, all you Bud fans, you Bud ball rubbers kept running around. I see y'all all on 7/8's page. All you Bud rubbers, you Bud ball rubbers on 7/8's page talk about, oh man, this guy's he's really a duck. But Brian Norman, duck, right? It's a duck, man. He was offered 1.5. Offer 1.5, man. This man's a duck. Offer 1.5. Man's a duck. Can't believe man offer. He duck off 1.5. How ironic that when it comes to Frank Martin, now Frank Martin's a duck. For accepting it and then realizing that there was more money that he was getting played on. And he wasn't even a champion. He was getting played. But Frank's the duck. But Brian Norman's the duck now. Because Brian Norman is saying, bro, I don't even care what you're getting. I know what you got. I don't even care. This is what I want. This is what I want. I want this. Whatever that number is that he told Bozy, that's what he wants. You want what he has. You can't dictate to him the price of his shit. And that's what Eddie Hearn is trying to do. That's what he's trying to do. He is trying to do this and maneuver this and spin this narrative around all over these YouTube streets and push it and flood the market because he got a bigger voice than Brian Norman. He's got a bigger voice. So because he's got a bigger voice, let me just push this nonsense. Let me just push this all around. Let me just let the world know that this guy really doesn't want to know. He's scared. Boots ain't scared. Neither is Brian Norman. Boots wants undisputed. He's telling you it's legacy over money for him. It is Eddie Hearn that is all about money. It's all about money. These two over here are like, let's get it popping. These two, Boots, Brian Norman Sr., Bozy, they let's get it popping. It is this guy who is the problem. That guy right there. This man has been lying to everybody forever. Forever. He lies more than he tells the truth. That's why we're so astonished and happy when he actually tells the truth. And we're like, damn, well, Eddie Hearn's telling the truth about this one. Even in this interview that he did, he was lying in the interview. He said he made 3 offers. And then by the end of it, he said he made 4. The nigga was lying in the interview, y'all. He was capping in the interview. He said he offered him over $1 million. That's cap. You didn't offer him over $1 million. No, you didn't. You offered him less than $1 million. And then you rounded up to 1.5. You rounded it up. Just like you told Tank Davis, you told the world that you offered Tank Davis $25 million. And then Tank showed the offer that you offered him and it was only 10. And then you switched it around and tried to say, well, what you were saying was he's going to make that with the pay-per-view and the back end and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, if Tank wouldn't have said nothing, you would have ran with it that you offered him $25 million to fight Conor fucking Ben. You would have ran with that. You would have ran with it. Because you are a liar, bro. You tell the truth and you put a whole bunch of lies on top of it to make you, your organization, what you support, what you rock with, who you protect, who you defend. You put a whole bunch of lies on top of that. When the truth is good enough. You're lowballing Brian Norman. That's why they're not taking the fight. Because you're lowballing right now. There is no reason to. When he gave you the number, what will make the fight happen? He gave you the number. You're lowballing this man and trying to, oh, well, okay, so you want 2.5. Well, will 1.2 work? What about 1.2? Nobody knows you. Nobody knows you, Brian Norman. Nobody knows you. What about 1.2? Well, nobody knows you. Listen, you only made $200,000 before. What about this 1.5? You only made $200,000. Why are you fucking around with it, bro? Just give the man the 2.5 he's looking for. Give him his bread, bro. Give him the money and make the fucking fight. Hey, Jerron, you want undisputed. You want to unify. You're going to make more than $3 million to fight this man. You're going to make more. How about you take something out of your bag, another $500,000, and give it to Brian Norman, and then beat him and become unified? You're still going to make millions. Lomachenko was going to do that. Lomachenko was going to take $500,000 out of his bag and give it to the Axeman. Yeah, take some bread out of yours, give it to him, and say, bro, here's $2 million. Here's $2 million. You want 2.5? We ain't got it. We ain't got it. But we got 2. Here's $2 million. I'm gonna make 3.5. You're gonna make 2. I'm taking some bread out of my pocket. I'm putting it in yours. I want this belt. We're both gonna make millions. Why not? Why not? What's the problem? But let it be y'all favorite fighters, and then y'all start glazing. Oh, come on, man. Turncover, man. Turncover, he deserved it. Errol Spence talking about 60-40 in his favor. Like, Turncover done more in his, and then Errol's little career. What Turncover did at 35 should mean that Errol Spence should give him more at 147. And what Turncover did at 140, that means that Errol Spence should give him more at 147. Turncover. That shit dead. Listen, I be Joey Gonzalez. That shit dead. I be Oscar Valdez at 130. So Devin need to be giving me 50-50 because I beat them other niggas at a whole different weight class. They got damn thing to do with this one. That shit dead. And that's what you niggas ran with. You ran with it. That because what they did in another weight class, then that means at this weight class, the champion should give them more because of what they did somewhere else. Yet here we are in the weight class with 2 one-belt champions. And you guys are telling me that Brian Norman is ducking. He has 1 belt. And Boots has 1 belt, and he is asking for more than what they offered him and told them the number he wants. And they're not even trying to get close to it. They're trying to tell him what they're willing to give him for his shit. Oh, well, he's not going to get another bag like this. Well, guess what, y'all? If Brian Norman defends his belt 5 times, 4 times, and makes $700,000 to defend it because he's now the champion, that $700,000 is less. It's about half than the 1.5. But if he defends it 4 times, how much bread is that? How much bread? Simple math. If he defends his belt 4 times at $700,000, how much is that? Let's just say he's on Top Rank and gets a unification with Denis Baranchik. Not Denis Baranchik. Gets a unification with motherfucking, what's the name? Teofimo Lopez. With Teofimo Lopez moving up. Let's just say he's on Top Rank, which he is. And he unifies with Mario Barrios or unifies with Stanis Baratheon. Let's say he gets a unification. I wonder how many millions he'll make for that one. Maybe 2. Let's just say, again now, he's with Top Rank and Teofimo Lopez moves up and fights him. I wonder how much bread he'll get for that. Maybe 2. 1.5. Maybe 2. It is not Brian Norman that is missing out. It's Jerron Boots Ennis. Brian Norman is not talking about vacating the WBO title to move on somewhere else. That is Jerron Boots Ennis. Eddie Hearn, who speaks for Boots Ennis, because Boots is saying it's legacy over money. Shout out to YSM. Because I do not believe Boots is scared of nobody. I truly believe that Boots wants to smoke with everybody. It is not Jerron Boots Ennis. It is Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn trying to get paid. He's got fucking hundreds of millions of dollars already. He's robbed his own for almost $1 billion. We are literally talking about $5 million. 5.5. That's what we're talking about, y'all. Maybe 6. We are talking about Shakur Stevenson's paycheck to fight Devin Haney, of which he turned down. That's what we're talking about, y'all. This is a unification. At 47, a glory division. With Jerron Boots Ennis, the guy who supposedly has necks, who made $3 million, just made 3.3 to fight a fucking bum. Who was a bum when Bud fought him. He made 3.3 to fight a bum. So do you think he's going to make the exact same thing or less to unify? Stop it, y'all. What Senior said is absolutely on point. Jerron Boots Ennis is going to make more money, more, to unify with Brian Norman than he did to defend it against Ambrosia. He's going to make more. It's a bigger fight. So why are you guys keep telling me about, oh, Brian Norman only made 200,000. Who cares? He was ranked number 9 or some shit like that. He was brought in to fight to fight this nigga Giovanni Reptilian as a punching bag. He was supposed to lose. He wasn't supposed to win. He dared to be great, bro. He took the lesser to get into the position where he's at right now. He's not supposed to keep taking the lesser, bro. He took the less, the 200,000, to fight Giovanni Reptilian. He was supposed to lose against Giovanni Reptilian. He upset the apple cart and won. He is not supposed to keep taking less. He's not supposed to keep doing it. Floyd didn't do it. You motherfuckers cry like some hoes about Shakur Stevenson. He didn't do it. Terrence Crawford didn't do it. The niggas y'all all ball rub and meat rot, but yet you want Brian to do it. No, he fought to get to where he's at now. Where he's at now dictates a different level of finances than where he was. Yesterday's price is not today's. This is not a knock on Boots. I rock with Boots. I think Boots is the good, and you gotta favor him to beat Brian Norman. You gotta favor it because of his name recognition. Doesn't mean he will, but you gotta favor him. He will be the favorite. But he's not the issue, and neither is Senior, and neither is Brian Norman Jr. The issue is Eddie Hearn. I don't understand how we're acting like this is something new. We all were here with the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder debacle. We were here. We witnessed what he did, bro. We saw all of this, the back and forths, the saying that, oh, I never said that he's gonna do this. And then in the same day, this interviewing with the same person, you turn right around and say he did. You did say it. With Blue Blood. Shout out to my brother, the legend Blue Blood. You say you didn't say this. In the same interview with the same person, the next day, you say you did say it. His videos are still up. The issue is Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn has his own plans for Jerron Boots Ennis. He has his own plans, y'all. His plans are not the same as Jerron Boots Ennis's plans. All right? I don't give a damn if y'all like this or not. It's the truth. Eddie Hearn's plans are, if you're telling a guy who is saying it's legacy over money for me, I want to become undisputed champion at 147, and you're saying we may vacate, who the fuck is we? Boots never said he may vacate the belts if he's got to fight a nigga named Karen in a rematch. He's never said this. Never. And unifications trump mandatories every day of the week. Every day of the week. But yet this man is talking about we may vacate the IBF title. Who the fuck is we? And if you're vacating the IBF title, doesn't that make you the duck and not Brian Norman? Brian Norman told you what the amount of money he wants to make a unification. If you drop the title because of a nigga named Karen and because Brian Norman is not bowing down and taking the scraps that you decide to flick off the table, then you're the duck, not Brian. But again, I don't believe Boots is ducking anybody. No, I don't believe he's ducking nobody. The person who is avoiding is Eddie Hearn. BFTB. Shout to the mighty LDBC. I'm out. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can be notified of all future videos. Like, comment, and share, and I will reply to some of you. If you're feeling the content, please show support in the Cashapp. It is greatness512. Or the PayPal, it is paypal.me/BFTVboxing. Or you can scan either one. Also, subscribe to my Patreon, where I will be uploading videos about my personal life and personal experiences, as well as YouTube blocked videos, along with many other continued series.